to try to do this video before my mom gets home. And shout out to Multi-Dimensional Foster eBay. His music is phenomenal. I mean, I love his vibe. So check him out, Foster eBay, Multi-Dimensional, YouTube. But what I want to discuss is regarding couples. And I asked the Father, the Most High, give me examples of couples in the Bible that I can use to, you know, as an example to display the journey that we take in these divine relationships that are put together by the Creator, the Most High, for a purpose, for a mission. You know, I guess the language they use is twin flames and, you know, all the different lingo that's being used. But the main thing is, what I'm discussing are relationships that were put together by the Creator for a purpose, for a mission, for a cause. And usually that cause is something that will edify humanity. You know, something that will build humanity. Whether it's by example, leading by example, or by a service, or by sponsorship, or whatever the case may be. It's called of God, of the Creator, of the Most High. Okay, so the first couple that I have is Adam and Eve, and then Abraham and Sarah, Isaac, Rebecca, Jacob and Rachel, and Boaz and Ruth. And there are a lot more couples in the Bible, but I'm just going to use those 1, 2, 3, 4, those 5 couples. And let's see, you know, I didn't prepare the headline or subtopics and main topic. I didn't do all of that. I'm going to let my intuition, God, do the filling in. I know basically what the subject is about, but I'm going to let the Most High Creator do the filling it in. You know, that's me. I go with the flow. I live and move and have my being. So let's see what is going to be said. You know, I did the basic groundwork of the study. Okay, so with Adam and Eve, we're going to go to Genesis 2, verse 24 and 25. I don't know if you all can hear the music that I'm playing in the background, but again, it is Foster eBay, multi-dimensional young man, very talented, and he helped teach me a lot regarding astrology. Okay, Adam and Eve, Genesis 2, verse 24 and 25. We're going to start there with the beginning, because I think that we start in the garden and we should wind up being back in the garden. I think that's our whole journey. Whether you want to say we start with the Spirit, being God in the Spirit, and that should be our journey, evolving back to that beginning where we started from, getting back to where we started from, going back to the Garden of Eden. So Adam and Eve is starting in the Garden of Eden, and we should end up back to where we came from. Genesis 2, verse 24 and 25. So we've gone off of Foster eBay. Now we have Queen Makeda. And I don't even know if y'all can hear it. But I tell you what, I'm going to turn it off because it's distracting me, even though it's sounding good. But I'm going to pause it and get it out of my ear because I need to be about God's business right now. Okay, Adam and Eve, Genesis 2, verse 24 and 25. it says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Now, the whole story of Adam and Eve, we know that, as children, we were taught that Eve bit the apple, and where was Adam? So let's break down this relationship. Okay, for one, Eve was in a conversation with the devil, the snake, or whatever it was. We don't know if it's literal or we're going to be symbolically speaking of how can you translate it to mean, how can that mean something in a normal way of life. So if Eve was somewhere discussing, talking with somebody she had no business talking with, for one. Okay, before I get there, let me mention the part about they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. That is the main thing. Our goal in these relationships are to be naked before each other. If we are not in the spiritual or way of being naked, meaning there really is nothing to hide, nothing withheld. I am who I am. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not wearing something to cover up who the true within, what is within is without. It is what it is. I'm naked before God, so I'll be naked before the man God put in my life, my companion, my mate, that I will also see as God. We should see each other as God. And God see the whole picture. We should be able to be naked. Nothing to hide. Not ashamed of your flaws, your bad, your good, your ugly. A person shouldn't be well-rounded to be able to be naked with their companion. You have couples to this day really don't know what each other look like without certain things. I mean, we have a lot going on these days that cover up who our true self is. Whether it's physical, mental, or whatever. We have a lot of things that we do to cover up the reality. If you're angry, you're angry. If you're mad, you're mad. If you alopecia, you alopecia. If you nothing, there should be. If you dark, you dark. If you skinny, thin, fat, tall, short, you are who you are. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not going to go try to bleach my skin. I mean, it is what it is. You may not be ashamed of what you do. You may be enhancing what you have. That's a different story. If you're enhancing what you have, what God gave you, yes, put paint on a building that is outdated or something. Yes, bring it to freshness, refresh, keep it fresh, keep it something that's desirable. Of course, you enhance it. But enhancing does not mean being ashamed of. I don't want them to see me without this. Or I can't say this because, or I can't let them know this is a part of me because. That is not being naked before your partner. And if you are having a relationship that God has put you together with, you will go through the stage where you will be brought to the process of becoming naked. The two shall become one. That is a part of the two becoming one. Being naked in front of each other. And not just talking about physical in front of each other, naked. Of course, I pray you all can be naked, physical in front of each other without trying to hide or with getting under the cover. I pray he or she can see it is what it is. Because if you're starting there, you got a long way to go with inward. You got to be naked within your mind, within your heart, and within your outward being as well. So becoming one with your mate is that process of becoming naked. They two were naked and were not ashamed. The two shall become one. That's my body. Your body is my body. I'm not ashamed to look at my body. I pray I'm not. So I shouldn't be ashamed to disclose my nakedness before my companion. My good, my bad, my ugly. I am who I am. All of that makes up who I am. Can you handle it? If you can't handle it, then you may not be my companion. If I can handle yours, then I may not be your companion. So that's the Adam and Eve. But again, the Adam and Eve, they were what started the process. Both were in a position, or put it this way, out of place. Where was the other one when something happened that caused them to be cast out of the Garden of Eden? Most people put all the blame on Eve. Okay, if God gave Eve something to do, God also gave Adam something to do. Where was Adam when Eve had so much time to do what she did? Were they out of place? Was Adam out of place? Was Eve out of place? Why weren't they together in doing God's calling, God's mission for them in the garden? Why weren't they together to handle what was trying to tempt Eve? Why didn't Eve go share with her husband what was being told her outside of her husband's knowledge? Why weren't both of them included on making the decision? Not after the fact. Why wasn't both included on making the decision to do what is being done? So part of being one is including each other on decision makings. The two becoming one, masculine and feminine together, and at different times possessing different roles of each or the other. You may be a masculine at one time, or you may be a feminine at the other, but you're becoming one. You're making decisions together. You have a common goal, a common direction the relationship is headed. You have a common source that you answer to. You have a oneness for the relationship. You may not be doing the same jobs together or the same this and that together, but your oneness on the relationship foundation is a must. To be as the Garden of Eden, the two shall be one. You have to come together and make decisions together, not after the fact. And it may seem like a little thing, but the two need to be included even on the little things. The Bible says the little foxes destroy the vine. We have to learn to include the oneness of the mind of the relationship. Decision making. Whether it's money, whether it's vacations, whether it's investments, whether it's employment, whether it's whatever you want to do in the bed, it's the little things. Include each other. That's building the oneness and becoming naked and not ashamed. Why weren't each other in the presence of the other to handle whatever temptation was coming upon one without the other? Okay, so that to me is the message of Adam and Eve. The oneness, becoming one with each other, being naked and not ashamed. And part of being naked and not ashamed of becoming one is including each other on even the small decision making. Bringing it to the table. Not meaning you will both have to be on the same job, the same mission, the same thing. No, God may have each of you doing different things, but when you're coming together for the purpose of God, trust me, the oneness of mind, that has to be there for the foundation of that divine couple, of the starting in the Garden of Eden. You have to start with the oneness of mind. Being naked before each other and not ashamed. It is what it is. Bring it to the table. If they can't handle it, that may not be your companion. Next we have Abraham and Sarah. Okay, with Abraham and Sarah, let's go to Genesis 16:25. Okay, Genesis 16:25. Verse 2. Genesis 16, verse 2 and 5. Okay. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray you go into my maid, and may it be that I may obtain children by her. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And verse 5, and Sarah said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. So, Sarah and Abraham relationship regarding, God promised Abraham children, to be a multitude, father of multitude. And they were wondering, how is this going to happen? By Abraham and Sarah was 100 and Sarah 90 years old. How am I going to be a father of multitude and I'm at old age and my wife old? I'm old, the husband old, the wife old. Where is this promise of God coming to pass? So what happened in that relationship? They were on the same plan. They knew the plan of God. They knew the plan of God. They had the oneness of mind. But because the foundation of what God promised them was taking too long, so somebody came up with the bright idea. Why don't you go do this? Some kind of way Abraham had to feel, that's not the way God told me that it was going to happen. He didn't say nothing about whatever of doing. Sarah was telling him to go to her maid. Maybe that's how God was going to fulfill the promise. Abraham, you knew that wasn't what God told you. Why would you go with what your wife is telling you? Or wife, why would you go with what your husband is telling you? I can understand you want harmony and peace. But if it's not registering in your spirit what your spouse is saying, why don't both of you take a step back and go pray about it till both of you have the peace about it? Don't just make the quick decision and say, okay, quite sure Abraham was going to jump on that. Woo, he probably was being tempted anyway. And now here you are laying it on a silver platter. Here, take my maid. I think I will. But that was not the plan. But all things work together for good. But the objective, the point is, in the relationships, the divine couples, when we're starting to become one, we're mirroring each other. You're going to feel what they feel. But somebody has to take the masculine role in bringing the feminine back in order, or that the balance of the relationship has to become back balanced. If the feminine or the masculine is getting too above itself, one or the other have to bring it back balanced to the original plan. It may be taking too long. It may be out of moderation. It may be an addiction. It may be obsession or lack or boredom or late or whatever the case may be. One or the other that's if you're in the relationship together. One or the other have to take the dominant role, and then that weaker or the one that's not balanced will mirror the one that's bringing it back into balance. Don't get on the same level of the weaker. Hallelujah. Don't get on the same level of the weaker of the two. Let that dominant, more one that's still balanced, stay balanced, so the one that is walking out of balance will start mirroring. Sarah and Abraham relationship, to me, was speaking more of mirroring. It's looking like the plan is not going to work out. It's looking like we may need to do something that we know that's not divine to bring about the goal of the relationship or the goal of the direction that we're trying to head. We may step outside of a righteous way of bringing it to pass. If you agree with those ideas that's taking you off balance, somebody needs to take the leadership role, even if that just means you stay in righteousness so that other can come into balance. That's mirroring. You have to stay strong and get your strength from God, from the Creator, from within. You've got to see a higher perspective of what's going on. Because if you go to the lower advice or the lower actions, the lower ways of doing things, because one partner in the relationship, if this is how we're doing it, then this is the way we're doing it. Well, I guess you know where that relationship is going to be winding up at if God don't step in and intervene. So Abraham and Sarah relationship lets me know that when the promise looks like it's not happening, when the relationship looks like something is going left field, then one needs to stay in position. Stay faithful, stay committed, so that weaker one that's going astray, they will eventually come back to the oneness. But you got to be strong and in faith and committed to what, knowledgeable of what strategy you're doing, why you're doing it. Because sometimes it can look like you're being a doormat. And ain't nobody saying stay in no relationship that they are being abused mentally, physically, or anything. Your spirit's being broken. No, that type of stuff. You need to get away and let God. You still can stay committed and loyal to your faith, your belief, but that don't mean you have to stay in the same four walls, four corners. If you're being physically abused, if your spirit is being broken, no, you don't. You could step out and let God work on situations. You can still let them mirror you outside of the four corners, the four walls. Pray for the wisdom. Pray for what to do. But the stronger vessel, if the weaker vessel, the weaker is bringing an advice that, I'm not saying stronger or weaker, it's the advice. If the advice is not where the foundation or where the direction of something is going that is righteous, then it needs to be brought back into perspective. That's the weaker, because it's going on a lower vibration, lower frequency of the advice. So bring the advice back up. You stay here, stay grounded, and let that weaker advice come back up here. Not you go here to follow that lower vibrating advice. Okay, and another thing, again, Sarah, she did eventually have the baby, and she called it laughter because that baby brought joy. But stay strong in faith. God did fulfill that blessing. Do what he said was going to, the promise. He did complete the promise. So, keep the faith. I don't care how long or whatever, God will sustain you during the time. You have to be patient and wait on God. But these days, God is doing things speedily. But there is times where we do have to be patient and wait on God. Wait on the perfect timing of things to unfold. Yes, we're human. But keep coming back to the original plan. Keep coming back to the Garden of Eden. In your relationship, becoming naked before each other and becoming one, even if that means bringing in advice that takes that oneness apart. That stronger one, bring that advice back to righteousness. Okay, the next relationship couple is Isaac and Rebekah. And Isaac is the child of Sarah. Okay, Isaac and Rebekah, we're going to go to scriptures. Genesis 24:63. Genesis 24:63. Again, we're on Isaac and Rebekah. 24:63. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the evening. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she got off the camel. So this story is about Isaac and Rebekah. God sent Abraham's servant to go and find a wife for his son Isaac. And it had to come from the family. It had to be put together of God. So all of the interactions that Abraham's servant went through, everything was confirmed that Rebekah was the divine called wife for Isaac, was of God's choice for Isaac. So the lesson between Isaac and Rebekah is telling me they had done, okay, this is the two apart. This is the two where back in the Garden of Eden, he say, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they two shall become one. Okay, that when they two shall become one, when they were away from each other, they both were working on themselves. If God put you with a companion and you all are very young, that means that you two will be together working on yourselves. You will be each other's mirroring lessons, life lessons. But a lot of times when we're single and we be put together as adults, each of the single adults should have been working on themselves to be ready for that mate. What was Isaac doing when his wife was heading his way? Those of us that are single, we have the faith that our mates are headed our way. We are going to be heading towards each other. So that means while we're apart, we both need to be doing something. When Isaac was apart, this is what he was doing. Isaac went out to meditate in the field. So Isaac meditating, he had a relationship with the Creator. So obviously, by him having that relationship with the Creator, he was being ready to be, for that wife to be brought into his life. Why would a wife get prepared for a husband and that husband is not even ready to be what he needs to be, which is God, to that wife, and she needs to be God to that husband? Why would you want to do all your hard work on yourself and give it to somebody that don't even care about themselves? They're not doing anything to enhance their mind, their body, their spirit. But you, on the other hand, you got a relationship with the Most High. You got a purpose. You know your mission. You know your... So why would God want to put you with somebody that hasn't done the work? Isaac was in the field. Obviously, that field probably was where he worked at as well. Physically, spiritually, mentally. We could be literal, or we could take it to how can we look at it to work for us now. Work on your field. Work on your spirit, your mind, your body. Work your field. Work your garden. Work yourself. Work to build you, the God in you. Isaac was meditating, and he lifted up his eyes. He had eyes to see. He had a spiritual intuition to know his wife was on the way. What was Rebecca doing? Rebecca lifted up her eyes and saw. We have to have another eyesight to know our husband and our wives, our companions. We have to see them through another eye. We have to see if this person, have they worked on themselves? Yeah, they look good. Yes, they sound good. Oh, they fine as wine. But what is their character? What is their purpose? What is their mission? Do they even have a relationship with building their higher self? They may not know the language we speak in, higher self, vibration, frequency, but what is their character saying? Do they have a personal inner life of wanting to do the best for their bodies, wanting to do the best for their minds, wanting to do the best for their future? They have a plan. You have a plan. These plans are coming together for a life purpose mission. You shouldn't be the only one with the plan, with the vision, with the mission. Both need to be connecting to something they have in common together. If the purpose is to be a helpmeet to the other cause, then by all means, that person should love to help bring about the mission. One could be the helpmeet for the other. They both are helpmeets for each other. Helpmates for each other. Yes, one may not have a plan. The plan may be to come help this plan. And they will be delighted. It won't be a burden. It won't be jealousy. It won't be complaining. No, they will be a helper and enhancer to the mission, to the plan, to the cause of why you're connecting. No pride is humiliating, or no pride is egotistical. No whatever. It's balanced to enhance each other. One may make more money than the other, but they will recognize that they too are becoming one. One not feeling smaller or greater or whatever than the other, because they are one. They are naked before each other. Baby, this is what I got coming to the table. Baby, this what already I've been working on. Ooh, we'll join together. Let's do this. Yes. Now ideas, master plans are evolving. They're becoming one. Not ashamed of what they're presenting. Not feeling the other is going to put the other down because they don't have as much, or haven't been as far, or don't have whatever. If that's the case, that may not be your companion. If there's jealousy, debate, device, or you feeling they make you feel small, that may not be your mate. If it don't fit, don't force it. So that's the lesson Rebecca and Isaac are bringing to me. That both are doing the work and both have been doing the work. Before they even met, they were interested on building the best for themselves. They were building plans for their life as a single person already. And they had eyes to see. Trust me, you will see and you will know, because you're looking for you're from a different scope. Yes, God will give you what you like to look at. Pleasant, apple to the eye. You're the apple of my eye. God says in one scripture where in Job, I made a covenant with my eyes not to look upon another. Yes, you will love to look at your companion. And if you're letting yourself go, these are the things where that needs to be brought together, and not you being naked in front of each other and not ashamed. Let it be voiced. Don't grow apart. Grow together. If you see one going too far to the other level, help that other and be strong. Lift them up. Bring them into balance. They're getting overeating, gaining weight, this and that, big belly, this and that. You be strong. You keep doing your vegetables. You keep doing your eating right. Don't do what they do, so they can see God in you, and God will work on their conscience, because they will, if that's your companion, your true companion, they will mirror. Going back to Isaac and Rebecca, they will mirror you. Or going back to Abraham and Sarah. They will mirror each other. So let the weaker one come back. Stay strong and mirror. They will mirror. Don't you start mirroring that weaker one. Stay strong and do the positive. Keep doing the righteous. Keep staying faithful, committed, and watch this one. Their conscience, God will soon work on their conscience to mirror and be, now you're back balanced. So Jacob and Rachel, they both were doing the work outside of each other's presence, so that when God do put you together, you both are coming together as vessels that are working on your spirits, your minds, and your body. You're working towards becoming the best. Not that you've reached the goal, not that you're perfect, but that person want to be righteous and strong for their mate and themselves. So does the other. They both care about spirit, mind, and body. Loving themselves first. How can we love somebody else if we're not even loving ourselves? So that's what Isaac and Rebecca teach me. The next couple, Jacob and Rachel. Wait now. Yes. Isaac and Rebecca. That's what that lesson teach me. That they, when God brought them up, they both lifted up their eyes and saw. And that was Genesis chapter 24, verse 63 and 64. They both lifted up their eyes. They were meditating. They were doing the work. So those of us that are single, do the work on building yourself, loving yourself, to be ready to be equally yoked with your companion. You don't want to be put together unequally yoked. You want somebody that is on your level or higher, because you have that desire to be better of yourself. You don't want somebody that is not concerned about being best. As each grow in the spirit, grow in the mind, grow in the body, become one, become mutual. Okay, and let's see the next couple, and I think this is the last couple. No, Jacob and Rachel. Jacob and Rachel. We got two more couples. Jacob and Rachel. And let's go to Genesis 29, 25, and 6. 25 and 26. Genesis 29, 25, and 26. Okay, and we are discussing Jacob and Rachel. Genesis 29, verse 25 and 26 says, so I'm going to read the last part of 25. It said, did not I serve you for Rachel? Then why did you fool me? And Laban said, it must not be done that in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. So what this story is about, Jacob worked 7 hard, long years for his wife, Rachel. But the father of Rachel didn't give Jacob the wife after those 7 long years of hard work. He gave him his older daughter. Rachel was she was the younger. So Rachel's dad gave him the younger daughter, the older daughter, instead of who he worked for. So he like, why did you do that? Why you fooled me? Why did you trick me? So in other words, he had to do it all over again. If that's what he wanted, he had to work for her all over again. Now, what this this couple is telling me is where a lot of us have been, still are, but we're learning the lessons, and we're growing and getting out, coming up higher. We're being fooled. We are connecting with relationships, companions, and we are really doing hard work. We're the ones toting the relationship. We doing all the work in the relationship, and you're not getting what you asked, what you thought you were going to get. You were fooled. You were deceived. It didn't come with the package that you thought. But you working year after year after year, and you're still not receiving what you thought was in that package. So now you got to do it all over again. If you know that first package was not what you desired, now you know how to work for what you really want. Now you know that you're going to work now for what you really want. You're not going to do all the work in vain, because now you know. Now you see. You done did all of that hard work, relationship after relationship after relationship after relationship, broken heart after broken heart after broken heart after broken heart. Now I think we may be learning a lesson. Now we may know how to work for what we really want this time. Because for one, we know we're working for ourselves, to bring out the best. It's not in vain. And another thing, we just because we done had broken relationship, broken heart, repetitively in our lives, we're not giving up. We're not going to give up on love, because we know that there's a divine couple, a divine companion, someone that is mutual to our life. We know it. But will we see it? Will we work on ourselves to manifest it, to bring it? Will we see it when it comes to us? What we're desiring is not going to come to us if we don't have that desire to better our lives and spirits and minds. Why would the Father put his child with somebody that done been doing all the work, with somebody you done did the work in vain, and you got nothing of what you wanted? That's because you did it on your own. There were lessons to be learned. Did we learn the lessons? Did we learn the lessons in these different relationships, in these broken hearts? There are lessons to have been learned. Or are we keep repeating it over and over and over? One of the times we've got to pass the test. And that first test is working on ourselves before we start working for a companion. Because if you're not working on yourself, you're going to draw to you vanity, because you're living a life of vanity. Sooner or later, every human being have to sit down and figure out, are you just existing, or are you here to fulfill your purpose in life? Whether you know the purpose or not, or whether you speak it or not, are you living for the better of yourself, of your world, of your mind, of your spirit? If you're in those positions, you're in the flow. We don't have to know the language. What is my calling? What is my purpose? Are you living in a righteous manner? Living and moving and having your being in a God-like manner. Is your life productive? Are your thoughts productive? Are your actions productive? Are you showing love, compassion, giving, mercy? Are you living a life of vision, focus, purpose, which is, it will come, it will come, it will flow, it will magnetize to you. Or are you just existing, doing wrong to your mind, doing wrong to your body, doing wrong to others, not giving a damn? Then you're going to get what you're putting in. You're going to get out what you put in. You're working for nothing. Working hard for nothing. Now it's time to get a plan, get a mission, work on yourself, be the best, do good for your mind, do good for your body, do good for your spirit, do good for your future, do good for your life, do good for your family, do good for your world. And watch things fall in place. Watch certain type of people get magnetized to you. You're drawing in because you're doing things from your spirit. You may not know it, but you're living for the good. And when you're living for the good, you're living for the righteous, for the spirit of things, the good of things. So that's what Jacob and Rachel teach me. That don't work hard for nothing. And the name Rachel means you, means female sheep. And if you know it, sheep will follow anything. Do we want a sheep? Do we want to be connected to a sheep? A sheep will follow anything. Blind leading the blind. Jacob and Rachel relationship is a worldly, fleshly, not caring about really vanity. What's best for me? Or you got somebody just to follow, do anything you say do. With no input, no, just like what? But no. When God puts two people together, you got two brains. You got 4 hands, 4 feet. You're becoming one. Not one becoming the other. No, the two shall become one. And that's the lesson that I get from Rachel and Jacob. Don't be deceived and work. Hey, Mom. Don't be deceived and work hard for nothing. Know that you've worked on yourself and now you know your companion is on the way. And you will be mutual and you will be coming from a spirit of love. And so will your companion. And last but not least, because my mom came home, let's get it done. It is Boaz and Ruth. And that's coming from scripture, Ruth 4:15. Ruth 4:15 says, and he shall be unto you a restorer of your life and a nourisher of your old age. So now we're getting right back to the Garden of Eden. Eve's name is life, means life. She's bringing life to Adam, which is earth. God breathed life. God breathed life into Adam, brought life to Adam. Eve's name means life. So we're going right back to the Garden of Eden. Ruth says her companion should be a restorer of your life. Should I pause it or what? Because I know, right? Let's pause it and then we may take it from there. But I'm going to see. I may can finish this before I pause it because I don't even think I know how to pause. But again, the last part of it is Ruth 4:15. He shall be a restorer of their life, of thy life. So companions are coming into oneness with each other to bring life to each other. Eve brought life to Adam. Now Boaz is bringing life to Ruth. He shall be a restorer of thy life in thy old age. So now you will grow old together. You will bring life to each other. And you're back to the Garden of Eden. Wow. Right on time. Right on time. I thank you, and I pray all of us be led to our divine companions, and let us become one and be naked before each other and not be ashamed. Have a great day.